Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode from the League of Dracula. This is a match between me playing as the Hunters and Pizzawizard playing as Dracula, and you can see here from the initial screen that I'm not in the game. I'm on the internet, on YouTube, because I've decided to do this recording of the commentary sort of post-game style again. Basically, I wasn't happy with my original commentary, so I'm going to redo it. But I'm joined in the commentary booth, as always, by the legendary Rossco. Hello, Rossco.
Yes, hello. Good evening, everyone.
And my adversary in this match, Pizzawizard, is also in the call. So, hello, Pizzawizard.
Hello there.
Pizzawizard is currently experiencing lots of winter storms in his part of the world, so if he suddenly disconnects, then we know why. He'll be battling through the snow.
Hopefully we should be fine. 1 hour. It's been okay the rest of the day. Hopefully we can get through the next hour and a half.
You've jinxed it now. So anyway, we're gonna watch this. We'll give our thoughts. Obviously, for the first week or so, we won't give spoilers about where Dracula is, so people watching can play along at home. But then later we can Peter will give us thoughts. If you do want me to pause at some point, if you want to give lots more explanation to something, then feel free. We can do so. Right.
Got it.
Let's go. No real surprises. You're gonna just see me doing my normal setup. Oh Jesus, the quality's terrible. Oh dear.
It is a pretty good setup. I think it's what I've done every game I've played since I learned of it.
Sorry, that's me putting it in 720. There we go. That's better. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm actually tempted, well, now that the league is over, to sort of experiment with different setups and just try and just do some different things, and we'll see. Maybe put Seward in London and Van Helsing in Madrid, eh, Roscoe?
It works, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm kind of that's kind of an alluring idea to me, honestly. Because I mean, starting in the UK with Van Helsing there isn't the best, but it's also not, because Van Helsing normally can't threaten Dracula very effectively by himself unless you draw heroically like super early. But with John Stewart, he can kind of like stick around, heal up. I can see the point of view, Roscoe. You know, I might be trying that out.
Yeah, well, that plus I was trying to screw with Scot-sword's head, so.
I mean,
The mind games.
Mission accomplished. If you hear the audio, just initially I was like, what's going on? I think I might have asked if you were drunk, perhaps. I was very confused about the whole thing.
You kept saying it the first week, you're like, this is like a friendly game, but it's a tournament. I really don't know what's going on. Like, all I've done is move two characters to do different locations, and it's confused you. But anyway, that's another game we're on here to see. This is, for those listening, I've not seen this game.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Did I watch?
No, I don't think you saw this game. Because I think you're away.
This is new for me as well, so it'd be great to hear both your insights into it, and then I can see what's going on as a viewer. So good.
I mean, I spent a lot of time thinking about my starting location, and then because I obviously, you know, I didn't want to start anywhere too obvious, but I also didn't want to start anywhere like that would be really bad. So I mean, we'll figure it out when it gets revealed. But
I actually can't. Apart from the ending of this match, I actually can't remember what happened at all. So I can't even remember where your starting location was off the top of my head. I can't remember. So that's gonna be a surprise for me too. Oh, you were there. Oh wow, I didn't know that. I don't even know. I actually don't know when I revealed you either. When I got newspaper or Hark or whatever. I don't even know. So
we're gonna get really authentic commentary today.
Absolutely. It's like I'm actually playing the actual game. Yeah, I know. Just normal stuff going. Nothing to. That's the only problem with the first week. There's nothing. I can't remember when everything kicks off, so I don't want to skip it just in case. But you can see what sort of events and things I pick up from Pizzawizard's perspective. Obviously, you would have seen some of the events I was playing, but you didn't know. That was a good thing to get early.
It's a very, very good, great strength. You have Jonathan Harker in the first week, which is when you want to have him. If you want to have him at all, I mean, obviously to get the other two, they're better. But if you don't have them.
I mean, you could search for Jonathan Harker later if you're more confident about the location. But again, I was very happy to get fast horses there as well, just to get that out nice and early.
Evil Presence kind of rules out London, right? I guess I could have started in London, like been in 32 or gone from 35 to 19, and then like misdirect to go back to 35. But
Yeah, that's the only issue. You could miss it that way, but it's that's made this made in that situation the strength of local room. There's a little bit more.
you got your white one from Van Helsing.
Just a cheeky psychic scan, just because you never know, right? I feel pretty bad if I missed you, but the chance of you starting in Austro-Hungary is unlikely, very unlikely.
Against Warcraft, I actually did start in Austro-Hungary, and then I moved out of it. But he psychic scanned on the second turn, not the first turn, so he didn't feel it. And then later, after the game, he was like, "Man, that was gutsy."
You see, I think I did that. I think I did it in a group game. I think I started somewhere like 28 and then moved to 22. I think it was a mistake. I suddenly realized, oh, you could psychic scan. Then he didn't. I was like, okay, cool. I can't remember who I was playing against actually. I really can't remember.
Yeah, I don't mind sometimes the Klausenberg to Galatz or the Pest one is not a bad start because you say obviously if they're starting in the same location, but not usually the first night they're getting tickets and things, so you can get one chance and then move into Baltica, and then when they do the search, it's like, right, you're not there.
Yeah.
So it can give you a bit of.
And because Bucharest is such a such a possible or not such a likely hired scouts check. Like if you go 28, you avoid all that for a bit. But yeah, I got the newspaper there.
Well,
I remember. Yeah.
Yes, thank God we didn't not misdirect our stunning location. We didn't get turn 3 newspaper reported.
Yeah, there you go. There's the merit of misdirecting, right? So I was pretty chilled up
You
with
got-
Godalming. I would have been probably good to go, I guess. I had, got dog, steak. No, I mean, obviously, I haven't got many events out yet, but I probably would have gone, oh, well, I'll just go straight for it then, just to deal with it, and then, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, with a knife, a stake, you can give him the horses from Mina if he needs the horses to get there. I mean, he's probably okay, even if he finds Dracula. I mean, it's not great in a 1v1, but, he probably won't die. He's Godalming. He's got 11 health.
Yeah.
And now the problem we've got with this is you're going to... I'm clearly rambling about why I want to have Heroic Loop and Knife on Mina, but obviously you can't hear it, because I don't want my original audio going over the top of this, so... I need to really do it. I also need to experiment with OBS if I can split the audio, because there will be situations where I want to do post commentary, but I want to have still the game audio. It is kind of weird hearing this in silence. So yeah, if anybody watching is a better, more of an expert with OBS than I am, can you let me know how you can split audio with OBS? That would be very handy.
Could you maybe use the game? I know the game music obviously changes when you get influence points. When Dracula gets influence, but could you maybe put that music on in the background, even if it's not like game exact, if you're looking for something to fill the
I guess I could, but yeah, I could just record like a generic like 2-hour game, yeah. But the problem is obviously then the music changes based upon the situation. You got the combat music and everything, and getting all of that, it's going to take a lot of editing, and that's just my editing software is bad enough as it is. Try to get
that's fair.
There you go. Yeah.
Sorry.
No, any sort of big task, and it's like I'm gonna break, and I'm like, oh, why? That's why you're free. That's what you get for not paying for stuff.
Now, is he going to keep the holy bullets? I would imagine so. After what we've been talking about.
He discarded it. Oh, he's terrible.
See. After all that chat with you and Captain Jarrow trying to tell each other why you should use it, and he just ditches it.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And the garlic reef as well, by the way.
Oh. And a pistol. Oh.
Okay, Captain Gyro might be on something if he thinks that garlic wreath is good. We agree on holy bullets. I do not follow him that far. Garlic wreath, get out of here.
Now here we go.
Oh, other way one?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy I got all 3 horses out as well, albeit one from Van Helsing, but still, to get them all out. I don't know if I got all white ones yet. I might be missing one.
You have 2 at least.
I got one Godalming, one. Yeah, I think I've got 2. Yeah. Okay. Oh no, I got one on Mina. Oh, maybe I do have all 3.
No,
I got
yes, you do have all 3.
So I'm just trying to improve horse economy. That's all I'm trying to do here. And obviously with Mina, the fact she's got like 2 bad tickets, I'm not going to take tickets with her. So psychic scanning just makes sense, even though you're very unlikely to be there.
Outside of great strength, do we have any amazing event cards in your hand? There's a surprising return, right? So that's like kind of, if you can get
Godalming just drew a money trail.
money trail. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, so Godalming's loaded with 2 good. You can see there's a money trail there. I'll probably. Oh no, I'm not going to go through it. Never mind.
There's times I'm watching games on YouTube and I keep like if I'm watching it on my laptop, I'll forget. I'll just be like, go to click. Okay, I'm like, oh no,
Yeah.
this is YouTube. It's not the game.
Yeah, I do that too. Yeah.
I really tried to take from the game that we played 2v1, where I didn't wolf form ever in the first week. I have tried really hard to now always wolf form it. Even like I've tried to take that terrible loss to heart, and I will always try to wolf form in the first week now because I see how good, how efficient it is. You guys are totally right about that.
Yeah.
So as you can see, I wolf formed right here. Day 5,
Yeah.
I believe, or day 4.
Yeah, was it? Well, that'd be teen wolf, I guess, would be the definition of that one. Yeah, but the fact that if this vampire matures, then you get the wolf form back, so that's good for you.
Oh yes.
Oh, wax cylinders on John Seward?
On the right character as well. Yeah.
I thought you would have discarded that Scot-sword. You don't rate that.
I would have, if it ended up on another character, I would have done. But the fact it was on John Seward anyway, then I'll just take it.
Oh yeah, convenient.
Now the problem thing here is right because
Oh, look at this guy. What was that in the top? Top 20 cards? Consecrated Ground.
So
God.
got great strength, money trail, and consecrated ground in the top 20.
This is not looking great for our hero, Dracula.
You just can't plan for that. That's ridiculous. I must say, this tournament, in the last sort of the last week and a half of the tournament, CG seemed to be coming out so early, and usually you're struggling, you're scraping. That's why Night Supply's become good for Drac in the last week. People are trying to find CG, and it was just cropping up. Everybody was just picking it up in the first. Well, I had it from day 2. You're like, fucking.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. I had a game where I was just burning through it. I actually suddenly realized here that here
we go.
Wax cylinders here probably wasn't great because I'd have got the information with newspaper the next day anyway. I think I might have done it. Was there a trait? Nah, there's no movement cards. So I think I was trying to maybe to get a little bit. You know what it was? I think it's to try and get information about tickets and try and work out what I'm doing.
Right.
So did you actually?
Scotsword. Oh yes. Sorry.
Did you actually start in 28 and then move to?
No.
I didn't. Okay.
I did that against Werecraft, but I was kind of mirroring you because this is the setup you did against me when you played Dracula in the tournament game. You did a very similar thing where I went from Bucharest, I believe, to 22. Okay. I think you did the same thing.
Yeah, I do like the setup, but obviously I was being very conscious of the fact, especially Rossco watched so many of my matches, and they'd be conscious of my strategy, so I had to start mixing it up. Which is what you need to do. You can't just start in the East all the time, or in Italy all the time. You got to do other stuff.
Yeah, I felt like I don't really start in the England very much, and I didn't want to try something because I feel like that's kind of a little bit of a different, like, not trail, but you have to take a different route when you start in the England. You have to say that yes, I'm going to go to sea, and like, do you want to go to Ireland? Do you want to go to Germania? So I didn't really want to try something that was a little bit different in our league game. So I was either going to go like East like you did to me, or in Italy, but I felt like Italy was a little bit obvious, and then you can like move Mina and Godalming there and psychic scan in like one turn. And I didn't like the way that looked, so I decided to go east.
If you start in Bari, right, and then you go to Rome, and then you go to Florence, Wolfall from Florence, there's not many places you can go to, and that's the problem.
Yeah, it's not great.
Well, especially when you've drawn fucking consecrated ground. If he was in Florence, you could have just slammed it down.
Yeah, that happened to me against Quincy. It was I was very, very sad.
So this is interesting. I now remember what goes on here, right?
Yes.
Right.
So obviously,
that was a massive fuck up. So basically, what I'm thinking here is right. There's a hide card on Galatz. I can get both hunters there. Godalming's on the rail lines. Needs a yellow 2. For some stupid reason, I decided to get rid of that ticket. I don't understand why I did that. What I hoped would happen was I would get a yellow 1 first, and then swap it out and get yellow 2 out. But it went round the wrong way. And I'm stuck in this really awkward situation where I suddenly realise that I can't stop this from maturing now. unless Mina walks onto it and it's not. It's a ruse. It's like a bodyguards or something. But if it's a bats or a saboteur, can't stop it. It's going to mature. And
I was very confused by this because you moved in there, and then I think like you didn't commit with Godalming the next turn. And I was like, what's going on? Why is he wiffle waffling like this?
Yeah, and obviously it's all because of the tickets. What I should have done, I've probably the problem is now because you can't hear me. I'm going to be just chatting shy about this for probably about like 10 minutes. What I should have done was just committed and gone. No, I need to have a yellow 2 here. Ditch the white 1. I can get the white 1 back out again. I'm not in desperate need for it right now. I should have just stopping this from maturing is far more important than a white 1. But that was entirely my fault. That was just me not just. I mean, I don't know how many. I haven't done the math. I haven't been keeping track of tickets. What was the likelihood that I would pull that yellow 1? It wouldn't have been great odds, but still, yeah, pretty unfortunate. Especially if that Seward had used a yellow 2, Godalming had used a yellow 2 that day. I think it might have been like potentially like a 1 in, like maybe a 2 in 10 or a 3 in 10 chance. So yeah, I was pretty annoyed at this point.
Oh, and there John Seward gets a yellow too.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, it's fine because I can rail to Milan then. But it's just like, I remember probably said at the time, like, oh, now you get the yellow too? Like, that's not what I want. I've had it before with Godalming, where Godalming can just get yellow 2s, but then because of his second draw, always just ends up with a yellow 1.
Yeah.
And this is the one time it's the flip. It's like the reverse. I was just like, oh, I couldn't believe what was going on here. So obviously you didn't know it because you didn't know what was going on my screen, but yeah, I was cursing quite strongly at this point. You must be you're feeling pretty bad about this because like, oh crap, this thing's not going to mature. Yeah, I'm going to delay potentially 1 hunter, but still, it's like.
As we'll find out when you actually land on it and it matures, or it might mature. You know, it will mature. I kind of from the beginning when I started in Glatz, I was convinced it wasn't going to mature because it was only 3 spaces away from me and Godalming. I figured worst case scenario, it gets newspaper reports found out on day 5 when it's like 2 spaces away. He'll probably be able to get to it. He'll have a sense of emergency. He'll have a forewarned. He'll have something. So I'd kind of given when I started at 22, I was almost sure it wasn't going to mature. What I really wanted to do was drag 2 people over there because I was gonna I hid there even though it was so close because I wanted to ensure that 2 people would be dragged over there into the upper right hand corner, hopefully letting me like skip away.
Yep. And in that sense, it's a good tactic. Like this,
good plan.
It's a good thing as well. Like if you start in southern Italy, same thing. I think we had the chat Rossco where we were playing, or it was like a game we were watching, or maybe it's a game that. Oh, I think it was your game against Werecraft, where it's the same thing where you let something in southern Italy mature, and I think at the point I was like, well, it's annoying you had to give up 7 points, but at the same time, it's like, well, you're going to have to commit 2 hunters there, and then in the end, you didn't have the horse economy to get there anyway, and then you're just giving Dracula just like a free pass to go wherever he wants for such a long time, and then it's even worse then. So yeah, dragging hunters out of like, I know obviously, now I'm moving backwards, because I'm kind of trying to think here, where's Dracula maybe gone? And I think maybe I'm going to prioritize supplying here because I don't need dogs anymore. I can't really move that far. I can't remember if I move backwards or not, or do I just keep? Do I move to? I move backwards to maybe supply, just get events. I just oh well, okay, I can't stop it, so let's cut my losses here and just supply up and hopefully get something. I know with the hide card, I've got like an extra day to try and deal with whatever's after Galat, so I'm not in the biggest rush.
Is it even worth it with Mina to go there? If you don't think you can solve it, if you think you're just going to get hide carded, is it even worth it to go on to 22?
You feel pretty bad then if, I mean, you don't know unless Dracula tells you. You feel bad if the hide card is something like a bodyguard and you could have stopped it. Especially if I got a stake as well. I mean, you could have put, I mean, I doubt you would have done, but you could have put double vampire. You see, there's a bat. So, like, I can't counter it unless I got forward. I can't counter that, and that's just fine. At the same time, like, well, you've used a bat. So obviously at this point, I'm 7 points down. That's not great, but let's just do some other stuff. Let's supply, try and get events. If this matures, then it means he gets Wolfhorn back, but it's not the end of the world. I'll have time to deal with the stuff after the Wolfhorn. So So that's just my priority at this point.
In a perfect world, you would be down 7 points because I would have had a vampire in my starting hand. But
Spoiler alert.
oh yeah, I was just saying. I do like batting people into Castle Dracula. I did it
Yeah.
against Warcraft, and if they don't have horses, it slows them down a lot because it only
Yeah.
connects obviously to 22 and 28.
Yeah.
But
That's
Yeah,
good.
or even
good
with
idea.
horses, they're still one space away from where they need to be, right? So it's
Mhm.
and then if economy's bad, might not be able to get to 10 or wherever. It's no, it's a good one. I quite like that. I think I remember probably saying in commentary, I quite like that move. That was nice.
It's very interesting how the dynamic of the game changes with a Rumatoka being played, or even having Rumatokas in the game, because I think there's times we were playing where I wouldn't use them because it's like, well, if first one matures, you get 7 and blah blah. But if there's no Ruma tokens, then there's no, hunters can effectively just ignore events and just find Drac and jump on him. This means that with that, the risk of 7 points or 6 points is, as you say, it draws hunters across, and it allows Drac spaces to sneak through. And even if there's nothing there, you've got to check it, or you risk giving away potentially points that you don't want to. So it's a good use. Sometimes if I don't have any vampires, I'll use a rumor token for that purpose, just to try and drag a hunter or two out of the way. Or they check it and it's rats or something. It's even more infuriating for them. But you need to move them around to get Drac the space, especially once wolf form's being used. You're then limited to 1 per move. So yeah, it's a good. Again, our argument is you save them all to the last week and just throw them down on every event.
so yes, as we can see, I put a hoax there because I started in 10 with the intention to go 22, put a vampire there. I didn't have a vampire in my starting hand, and because I was sure it was going to get dealt with probably with a stake, I was like, oh, I'll put a hoax there. He'll stake it. He'll have less stakes for the actual vampires. This will be great. And then obviously it matures. I mean, it was okay. It's fine. A hoax maturing, still a great thing, but not a vampire. Which maybe I committed too hard to try. I mean, if I had a vampire, I would have put a vampire there, but I didn't.
I must admit,
It was
I think at
unfortunate.
this point, even though hoax is potentially really bad for me, when I saw the hoax mature, I actually breathed a huge sigh of relief. I was like, okay, good. I haven't given up points because I was also there's also the strategy coming in here because I knew I had 2 games left. This game plus a game against Warcraft, and I kind of knew, right, as long as I can win 1, I might still win the whole league as long as the IDS difference, as long as the victory has a bigger IDS score than the defeat. So giving up a lot of points early to you would have been really bad for me. And would have put a lot of pressure on me then. Not only to win this game, but then also then to make sure that I don't lose to Warcraft later with a lot of IDS.
Just a question there, Pizzawizard. When you went to Galats and you didn't have a vampire, did you contemplate using Dark Call to try and get a vampire and then you could have placed it?
I thought about it. Well, okay, no, that's a lie. That is a blatant lie. I didn't even consider it. I want to say I thought about it because thinking about it right now, that seems like that's probably a better play. But I feel like the beginning of the first week, it's so serialized for me. Like I will always do generally the same thing. I will move. I will put a vampire. I'll put a rumor token on it. I'll hide there to protect the vampire. That I did have a vampire. It kind of threw me off. So I was like, and I had a hoax. So I was like, oh, if I get on a vampire, hoax is the next best thing. And then I just kind of moved on. I don't really like Dark Hall. I don't like not moving. I suppose there's uses for it if you can't move or if you want to stay on like an island for longer. Dark Hall has its use there, but I feel like I've never really used it, so I don't know how to value it properly.
It is a difficult one because again, as you say, if you're found, it's another move that you're not moving anywhere.
And you're taking
So it's
damage
easy for
into it.
hunters to then you've got to feed to get your damage back. So effectively, you could have 3 days where the hunters then find you on the 3rd or 4th and you go, all right, well, you're only going to be 1 location from where you started. But on that scenario, if you were like, well, if you'd done Dark Call and you pulled an aristocratic, you would have had 7 points then. It's just that I think it's that card where people are like, I don't know if I should use it, but
the things with the timing that probably wouldn't have worked because if these were
I
started
guess you would have been
in
1
10,
behind. Yeah.
10 Dark Call, then moved to Galatz, put down the vampire, but then the Bucharest would have been misdirected, and I would have pulled newspaper that day. So in that respect, it would have been.
Oh yeah.
So the whole timing of it would have been all messed up. I mean, obviously you didn't know when I was going to draw newspaper, right? I could have drawn it on the first day.
Yeah. But
So
you played the right play, Pizzawizard. Well done. That's what I was.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I was also commenting as well, like, because I obviously didn't know what was going to come after it. I was probably making a comment because you did something really similar in one of your matches, Roscoe. You used a rumor token on a hoax to drag the hunters over
Yep.
to use a stake, and then they have vampires behind. And suddenly at this point, I was like, oh crap. And this is why then I moved Godalming back eastward again. I was like, well, Godalming's got a stake. There could be like 2 vampires here I've got to deal with. Even though there's no rumor token, I still have to deal with them. So I had to think about it that way.
Jonathan Harker did reveal Bucharest, and Bucharest is kind of the super obvious move, right? Because you've been psychic scanning. If I was in Austria-Hungary, I don't know if it exactly lines up. I think there's a really good chance I go to Bucharest next move, just by deduction.
Yeah.
Like from a hunter's point of view.
Yeah, especially the fact that if I hadn't been psychic scanning Austria-Hungary, then yeah, absolutely. But also the fact I walked on to 28. Okay,
Oh, you did go on to 28. Oh,
I-
there you then you know.
Then I know, yeah. But if I hadn't, I could have gone around a different way. If I'd gone only by rail, then yeah, I wouldn't have done. And I did newspaper there because I wanted to find out where this wolf form location was, because then I have I had to also try to think, right, can Godalming get there? Is it Mina who has to go there instead?
There you go. There's the yellow 2 for Godalming.
There's the yellow 2. Yeah, for fighting with. You're always fighting with the tickets. It's just always the way. I think actually I moved Consecrated Ground off Mina onto Van Helsing. If you'd got like Vampiric Influence with that hoax, that Consecrated Ground, gone.
Wow.
That would have been
Ooh.
such a catch, by the way. Obviously, you weren't to know.
That would have been so good.
You weren't to know, obviously, but yeah, you'd feel really good about it if that happened. So obviously, kind of like, do I still Oh.
I don't think it was a vampire.
No, Saboteur.
Yeah, Saboteur.
That was actually a really good
Pretty
Saboteur, because now,
No rifle.
and also, I can't get a 46.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my hand was not my counter hand was not great. I didn't have a lot of. I think that's why I was like kind of just putting saboteurs and stuff, because I didn't have like bodyguards or the stuff that I would want to put down.
Yeah, but look what's happened here, right? Even though you're saying the hand was bad, right? You got a hoax mature, Saboteur's got to mature, and because of the Saboteur mature, unless I have Chartered Carriage with Godalming, I can't get to 46. So that's another thing that's going to mature. So suddenly you got from a situation where you think, oh well, I'm just going to throw down encounters just because I'm going to, and suddenly 3 things are going to mature. Like that's that's great. I know one of them's a roadblock, but still, like that's pretty good going.
Yeah, it worked. It worked out well. It worked out well.
The road. I would just say the roadblock placement probably wasn't great because Mina can't get there anyway.
Yeah, that was cool.
So yeah, you had to block. You had to block the rail line. You'd feel bad if I had Chartered Carriage now, and I could have Chartered Carriage onto it with Godalming. But I don't, so I'm gonna just leave. Or am I?
That was the right call by you, I think. Just get him out of there, because I'm at sea at this point. Oh, you went, but you didn't do that.
Because I suddenly realised, well, I've got 3 other things I've got to deal with here, and Salonica could be a vampire, but I don't know it, so I'm gonna have to commit a little bit here. Until I know what Salonica is, if I remember correctly, I don't search Sophia here because I didn't want to search, take damage or whatever. Then it's like, if it is a vampire in Salonica, then I would just wasted an action for no reason.
I think that is exactly the right call to make.
I guess the other thing you can look at as well is with I don't know, harp on about it, but with wax cylinders, you could have deducted to see if that was something you wanted to go after. It's always a good one to then decide, especially a port before they go to sea. If you've got wax cylinders, you deduct and say, like, well, do I need to go there? Because if it's fog, I'll leave it, or is it a vampire? And then that way, your hunters are freed up to, because I'm guessing if you've gone down into Salonica, Sofia, and then down to Athens, it's like, right, one player's going to get stuck down there and potentially trapped. So
yeah, in retrospect, I could have, instead of, because I had wax cylinders, what I could have done at night was done wax cylinders with Sewer to check, say, either Bucharest or Salonica. And then if I had discovered that either Bucharest was a saboteur, but then a robot would have been placed. Oh, if I realised that Salonica was a vampire, but then the saboteur would have matured anyway. There are probably ways we could have done it. Yeah. I'm trying to work out here. I don't want to play Mystic. I'm trying to work out. Do I play Mystic Research? Because if you put down a second hoax, then I don't know how many Dracula cards are in the discard pile right now, but that could mess it up. I think I just took the risk and think, I don't think they're gonna have 2 hoaxes in a row, or like in really close succession. So I just decided just to risk it anyway.
I'd be tempted to do that. Yeah, I mean, you got renewed vigor.
I got renewed vigor.
Oh my god.
I'd be tempted to kind of use up Mystic Research when you have the chance. So
I think the first
Vampiric Influence.
making sure that's not the one on there. How many? Is there only one, or is there 2 vampiric influences in the event Dracula event?
I think there's 2. I know Rossco and I talked about it, but that was a while ago. I think it's 2, and then we'll see what this thing is when it matures.
I think the first hoax had like 6 Dracula events. Oh, was it? Yeah, it was a vampire. I regretted not ambushing Godalming there because I think there was like a mob or something on 50, and I should have ambushed because something.
Yeah. So if you knew that was a vampire that was going to mature, then yeah, you should have ambushed me. But that's fine. But you got 4 points, so that's good for you. It's not great for me, but at the same time, it's like, well, yeah, I'm not in a great position here, but at the same time, I've got hunters covering the west. I've got really good events, so the game's still, pretty, balance at this point.
I mean, I think it's looking pretty sweet for you, right? You have the Conspirator Ground, you have the renewed. You're still 50 cards in the event deck, but you have like the two of the best event. I mean, the 2 best events in your hand. You have the Money Trail to track down River I Go by Sea. You have like
I got 2
your primes.
though, to be fair. Yeah. Yeah, you just got to take it the balance like that and just not panic if things go wrong. Oh, there, look, there's the second one. Can't make it up. That's just insane.
After a hoax that shuffled Dracula events back at like 5 Dracula events shuffled back into the deck, and he still gets all the best cards.
Yeah, it'd be better if you hadn't hoaxed me, I think, because the renewed was right at the bottom, and then the renewed was right at the top.
Shuffled it right to the top.
That's the place you wanted to be buried in the middle of the deck. That's what you want, or like the bottom third, basically. Yeah.
Can I see your hair, buddy?
The reason I was putting so many, I put the hoax in the beginning, well, I guess not really why I put the hoax, but the reason I put that Aristocratic Vampire in 46 was I figured, Scotsword, I know you're a very good Hunter player. My thought was, there's no way anything is going to mature, right? He's got those 2 people. I just want to burn as many stakes as possible. I want them to use them all up on the Aristocratics, on the hoaxes, on whatever. That way, when I have my good vampires later, they'll actually live. But unfortunately, it didn't quite work out that way. But that was kind of the reason I was putting vampires, or the non-fighty vampires over there.
No, that's a good, that's definitely a way to do it. Yeah. And then I kind of made a conscious decision that I even burnt the stake with Seward, which I'm like, well, that could come back to haunt me later, but at the same time, hopefully not. I also burned an escape route. I was having to choose, do I pick Surprise and Return or escape route? I hoped I'd get another ally out, and then I could use Harker later.
It's that balance again, isn't it? It's like Dark players are always you try to go for the gold and get the ones to mature, but so many, I speak about that, Scott. So cards like your spy and things. There's a lot of other good cards that can be used just to delay, remove items from the hunters, make them do something at night instead of what they plan to do. So I mean, you could throw down a bodyguard and 2 mob and potentially kill a hunter.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on what they have, but again, you don't know what they've got. You can try and deduce it from the discard pile, but sometimes I think there's an argument to kind of throw down the niggly ones that you're like, oh god, like double rats. It's like, well, that's 4 health. So if you've got to use it, use it. But yeah, I get it. You want to try and get ahead as far as you can with the hunters. But then, of course, this is just coming Friday on the second week. So you could have 11 points by now, and you're still like, shit. I've got to try and carry on for the next 2 weeks, or try and get reckless vampire bites, or a hunter death.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting.
What's the thought, Scotsword, right now? Is there any world where, where do you think that I am at this moment?
I mean, gut feeling obviously says Cagliari. I was very tempted that I was hovering over renewed vigor. I was trying to work out, can I do it in a way that I could get both Seward and Van Helsing onto Cagliari, but I suddenly realised I think I might have missed a trade opportunity, and there's the hired scout. So we're going to
And
know.
it's hard scouts anyway.
Yeah. I wasn't Cagliari, yeah.
I was very tempted. I thought you could like it can be there anyway, so I thought it was the risk. If I'd done the trades correctly and I could have had excellent weather on Seward and Van Helsing, I would have just jumped both on. Because if I do find you, obviously it's a huge risk, right? But obviously in that situation, I would have hired scouted beforehand anyway. But I think I got it wrong. So who's got excellent weather? Oh, so Godalming and Van Helsing. So what I needed to do was get the excellent weather off Godalming and then do. Oh no, but then I need Speedy Telegraph. That's me. I need Speedy Telegraph to make this work too. I need to trade excellent weather to Seward. Oh no, because I can't trade twice. That's the problem. I had to trade it at night. So you see, I was like one turn too slow with everything. And now you see, like I'm now kind of preparing for this. If you decide to feed, or not feed, if you're going to hide, I know hide wouldn't gain you any benefit in terms of an encounter, but if you decided to hide, I'd have just jumped on with both. I realised the chance of you doing that is just so unlikely given the risk. But yeah, I was just like one turn too slow with that. Otherwise, I would have just jumped on, and that would have been pretty devastating. I mean, I don't know. I can't remember what you've got in Cagliari, but that would have been, unless you got fog, because I haven't got forewarned at this point. 2 hunters jumping on you who've got a lot of firepower. That would have been quite tough. But
yeah, I mean, I think even if you use the Renewed Vigor and it doesn't exactly work out, you still have the other Renewed Vigor, you still have the Concert Ground. Like, I think with that much stuff, you can take that risk and still probably be fine.
Exactly. If I'm running around with just a Renewed Vigor, you're like, okay, this is like my only power play, I have to use it carefully. The fact I've got like ridiculous cards, I'm just like, okay, I can kind of not throw one away, but you do have that little bit of you can have a little bit more liberty with it.
That's it. So, in retrospect, yeah, that's the issue with it. When you leave from the Ionian and you only go 2 seas, money trail you don't really need because you can determine relatively quick. Like, for example, hired scouts, you would have checked Cagliari and he wasn't there. You then go, right, we'll do a check 17 or, to check that coast.
Yeah.
If you go a 3rd sea, then the problem is, all right, you're in the Mediterranean. So, money trails, most time you want to use it is if you're skirting around the Irish Sea, North Sea, or you've got 3 or 4 seas you can get to. It's always difficult that when you leave the Ionian, unless you're going to do a 2 sea and go to Black Sea, but that's always a risky move, unless Mina is far enough away that you can then land there. But then, of course, if he found you on hired scout, you just throw down CG, and then that's the issue. So yeah,
the times like this,
that one.
Well, obviously, like we've been talking about with Gyro and commentary, where the thing with Mina is you want to have is that she can. That's the second good luck gone, because I reckon that you're not going to play roadblocks or whatever, because I'm not seeing. I assume with a hoax you would have picked up roadblock or false tip, so I'm just getting rid of my good lucks. You want Mina to be psychic scanning, but in a case like this where you can get hired scouts out, because I don't think I got any really early on. Then Mina doesn't really need to do that. Mina can just do other stuff instead. Again, I'm kind of realizing, right, okay, there's 2 things that can happen here. You're either going to go all the way around to the UK, I've got CG to deal with that, or you're going to try and just wolf on from Med. So I'm going to just try and like prepare for that, basically. That's all I'm going to do.
I do think, I know you were kind of kicking yourself for having the excellent weather on Lord Godalming, but I think it was a fine thing. I mean, I think it was fine to have it on him, right? If you didn't want to do the Cagliari play, because it would let him essentially jump a large distance across the map, or because he's the one without horses, he couldn't really quickly make his way.
Yeah, that's true.
His way west.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, I think he initially drew it, if I remember correctly. But then, yeah, I should have probably anticipated Cagliari a bit, so I should have got it off him, and I could have easily traded it back to him. That's the thing, but it's fine. It's fine. I mean, the thing is, like, yeah, he's only going to move because he's got money trail, and I can't remember what house he's got. He's got like good stuff. I don't want to supply too much with him, and I've got so many of the good stuff out. Like, what house could come out which is going to be so good? I'm going to ditch it, right? Maybe
I guess the other thing with that is if you excellent weather from Athens, say when he was in Cagliari, then you're 1 sea away. So now when he goes to the Med,
You're on top of
Dalman
him.
follows him, and you're right on wherever he lands. He's got to wolf form, but you've got one hunter on his ass, and you've got two hunters on the mainland, and all of a sudden it makes it a hell of a lot more difficult. So it was good for Drac that he didn't do that one, but it's good against Cagliari still needs to be dealt with. So
Yeah, that's why
there's no Rufus in place, so that's good.
That's why I'm moving Mina here, because I'm like, okay, well, if there's a Wolf from Med, Mina can Psychic Scan Italy. So I can rule out 3 locations immediately with that. And then she's got stakes, so she can go to Cagliari. If need be, I can trade Excellent Weather from Van Helsing to Mina, so that's fine.
I mean, at this stage, if you're a hunter, you're pretty happy with the cards you've got.
Yeah, I'm not complaining at all. Yeah.
You're not running out of time. You know, as Drac, you're a bit... Yeah, I'd be like... I've been in those positions, you're like, fuck. Even if I will form, I'm only going to be one away from a hunter.
Yeah.
Feed's already on the trail, da-da-da-da-da, and then it's like renewed vigour, then all of a sudden chartered carriage, which obviously, you know, we have watching you now, but as Drac, you've got to assume the worst. It's like, right, well, if I land on a track, then renewed vigour, Seward can get to me.
And then look at this. I draw Hypnosis now.
Oh.
And that's from the bottom of the deck as well. So that hoax.
I'd love to see how many games you won as hunters if you didn't have this fucking luck, man.
Look, I think I was actually a little bit too confident because of the early hoax and the fact that I could see like 45 event cards left in the deck. I was like, I think I was like, I felt pretty good. I was like, oh, you know, he probably doesn't have all the things. There's a good amount of events left. I was feeling pretty good about it, and then
This is a topic. A thing I just want to throw out there. I thought about it as like an only fools. Fuck's sake, man. That's a British thing. April Fools. There we go. That's the thing I want to say.
You plonker.
Oh, you dipstick, Rodney.
Marlene.
How's it going, Dave? Right, sorry, that's just sorry for all the British people. Sorry. I see Pizzawizard. I've got a fucking clue what all that was.
Nope, no idea.
Oh dear. Right. So it's an April Fool's thing, but maybe we can do it anyway. It's a bit of fun now that the league is over. Let's try and put like really funny restrictions on the different factions, and let's see. Like, let's just play a game where we say, right, fuck it. The hunters, like, say my S tier, like we do the tier list, Rossco, right? If I say, right, hunters cannot use the S tier cards. And let's just see what on earth happens, just as a bit of fun.
I've only got to use pistols and holy bullets.
Well, that's another thing I was going to see. Like, try if
Dracula must die by holy bullets.
if the hunters draw garlic reeve or holy bullets, they're not allowed to discard unless it's like a duplicate or something. But it's like that would be really funny. I think to watch. I think that'd be really funny because you end up in really weird situations. I think so.
And once every 3 days, one of the hunters has to night supply.
Oh, you could do stuff like that. Why not? Fuck it. Yeah, that
Like
sounds
a quota that must be met. This sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Here we go. So I've Wolfblown for Mediterranean. I'm feeling pretty good. And then
all these cards just start getting thrown at you.
The Marines, they have all the equipment. They have a renewed vigor. I'm like, okay, it's a speed plus renewed vigor. It's not great, but it's okay. He'll probably find me with like one guy. Maybe Van Helsing will find me or John Stewart will find me. Okay, we can live through this. It'll be fine. And then Mina goes first. And Mina, what does Mina immediately do with her actions? Well, she supplies, and then she uses the other. She immediately uses a hypnosis, so he immediately finds out. And this is when I really feel screwed. I feel this feels terrible.
With chartered carriage with Seward.
This is when like the sinking feeling, it just sunk in. I was like, oh, renewed vigor. We expect him to have a renewed vigor. We don't expect him to also immediately have hypnosis, immediately use it. Van Helsing's right there.
And we use Pizzawizard, you know what I mean? Yeah, if you were playing as Dracula, you'd be like, yeah, he's not run through the deck, he's not really burnt a lot of events, this should be okay. And he's got fucking CG, Hypnosis, Money Trail, 2 renewed vigors. I mean...
And Speed Telegraph. Speed Telegraph to make this play work. This play would only really work properly if I could play Hypnosis, but I mean, it would probably still work if I could do it in the normal order, but it wouldn't have been as clear. I may be taking a lot more risks. So yeah, it's... based upon probability, this is just ridiculous. This is as a Dracula player, you feel pretty bad seeing this.
Just being smited by the gods in this moment. No.
So there you go. You see now.
And then charter or not chartered carriage.
You know what? You know, I'll pause this. I'll explain. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to remember, because with the stress I can't remember. What order do I have to play Fast Horses and Chartered Carriage in? Because the digital edition doesn't do it quite how you'd expect it to do it. And yeah. So that's that. That's what's going on here, basically. I'm trying to work out, do I have to play Fast Horses first, or then Chartered Carriage? And I can't work out, then, like, if I Fast Horse to, say, 54, it's not on a rail line. If I go to 36, is that going to be good enough? Is he in, like, I don't know where you are, right? I assume you're in Madrid, but I have to assume you're in Madrid. I mean, in retrospect, I could have avoided all these problems. I just walk to Marseille, and then Chartered Carriage to 34.
I mean, if I'm in 26 or 1 or 4, then you can just use your concentrated ground, right? To just not insta kill me if I'm in 4 or 1, but if I'm in 26,
it just causes you so much trouble. Yeah. So you see, so I'm playing Chartered Carriage. I'm like, when I want to rail up to 8, and then I can Fast Horse to 8. That's what's going on there. And then I can't do my special action.
Yeah.
But I saw Mr. Green do this. You can rail twice. You can do Chartered Carriage, and then you can rail again, because it's like a normal move. That's not how it should be done, I think. But anyway, that's an interpretation thing.
Oh, no, that's not.
That's not right, but that's how the digital edition does it. I mean, but in retrospect, I wanted to Fast Horse to Madrid. So the downside would have been I might not have had the economy to do it, but the chances would be pretty good. So it all worked out more or less the same, but still, that's not how it should be done.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel slighted by that. I feel like you would have gotten there with your horses and chartered carriage. You deserve to get there at that point, plus renewed vigor. Yeah. So I did put a. Oh yes.
No, it's just the way Chartered Carriage is done. Yeah, on you go. Yep.
I did put a fighter vampire in Madrid because I think I kind of I'd given up on that we're just gonna make him burn his stakes because obviously the stakes hadn't worked, but I wanted to have some sort of security because I thought maybe he'd find me with Van Helsing. He was right there, so I wanted to have a vampire.
Yeah, that's a sound. Because again, if Seward wants Van Helsing to jump on you as well, then that's 2-1 against it. And again, if you can take any damage off them with a vampire, then it makes the one thing he hasn't drawn, which I'm fucking surprised about, is Heroic Leap.
Don't speak too soon, mate.
He can't get literally everything good. He has to get like just the best, not the second best.
Yeah. Oh, has he dodged? Oh, he's trying. Okay.
That was a 50-50.
Good.
I don't know, because I assumed you were going to plot there, so.
I try to switch it up with that, yeah. Like,
no, that's what you have to do.
Always.
I mean, realistically, unless I'm going to review any weapons, I don't want to review any weapons because I'm about to fight Dracula, right? I want to just... So now here, I try and do something a little bit different. I go into the dodge, hoping you'll mesmerize me, and then I escape. Okay, you might then draw another combat-based, like something like that will damage me, like a claws or a fangs. So I just have to hope, well, maybe you didn't draw it. So
well, yeah, and in this situation, it's the right move, right? Because I think it's a very hard play to make as Dracula to plot when you think they're going to escape. I think it's a very unlikely move.
Exactly. I mean, you still done 2 damage to me, so it's not. It would have been a disaster for you. 2 damage on, it's not the end of the world.
Especially when the hunters have got a full quota of weapons. If they've only got 1 weapon, they've got 4 cards. It's a bit easy. You can kind of manipulate them into playing plot when they dodge. But when they've got full items, the weapons, and the 3, you're like, yeah, as you say, it's a great one to get. But it's like, oh, right, okay, well, if they've got two cards in their hand anyway, and if they have a pistol, they've got 3 in their hand that can block plotting, and 2 of them do damage to you. So, yeah, it's a pain.
Now see, Sue's taken 4 damage, which isn't great, but at the same time, I've got great strength. I know I've got great strength, so.
I know. Yeah. There was a question in my mind: does he have the great strength as well? I hoped you didn't. Obviously, we now know you did, but I was thinking maybe that's how I could get some points, even if because at this point I felt I didn't feel great. I was like, oh, maybe I can get to a port and escape next turn. Maybe we can get away from this. But I didn't feel like I didn't know if I was gonna have enough health to do that after fighting what was probably gonna be Van Helsing and Seward together with their heavenly hosts,
Yeah.
which I assumed they have. I always assume all the hunters have heavenly hosts.
And obviously
Do
here,
you remember, Pizzawizard, did you have fog in your hand at this time?
I did, but I didn't want to place it in Madrid because it's not a port, and I didn't like the inefficiency.
Yep, rightly
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Rightly so. Yep.
But
Here, I'm happy.
I think it would have been better. Yes, sir.
I don't know, but then you'd feel bad then because if I'd moved in and then it disappears instantly, and then you try to move to a port and you don't have it, especially if I pick the right port, then you'll be like, oh god, you're just completely defenseless then in that situation. It's a tough one. But I'm feeling pretty good about
I
this.
also
I've got Godalming situated that he can, on a rail line, can get into Spain quickly if need be. Obviously, I've used my chartered carriage, but that's good. I'm thinking about it already. Like, I'm gonna want to play CG here because I don't want you getting to a port. I need to stop you from getting to a port.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think. Right, do I move Van Helsing in here? Do I only fight with Seward? And if I do move in with Van Helsing, I've got to take damage from this vampire, and then I don't want to use Heavenly Host in the fight because I want to use CG. So, I mean, in retrospect, maybe what I should have done in this situation was not even move into this space and just use CG without all this combat stuff.
I mean, I suppose you could have forced Drac to Alicante because he can't go back to the med.
Yep.
Then you would have had hunters, on the heavenly host. He would have done his 5 damage. He would have got the med back, but then you've got Money Trail. He's taken damage, and then you wouldn't have to worry about Spain at all. There's always that option. You could have blocked Lisbon and Cadiz and Santander.
Yeah, in a retrospect, what I should have done here was just get everybody to, or even just put them all to Saragossa, and put all like the consecrated ground stuff. Because I knew Madrid won't be able to can't misdirect because it's a wolf form, and as you said, Alicante is blocking. So all I have to do is just sit in Saragossa, and eventually Dracula's going to have to move into me. So what I should have done at this moment was gone, no, I'm not going to fight Dracula. I'll just get everyone in 48. I'll throw down consecrated ground, regardless if he's in Madrid or in 26. If he's in 26, he dies. If not, in Madrid, I can force him to where I want him to go. So all of this stuff with this new vampire is like an unnecessary risk, but obviously at the time you're not thinking about that. You're like, oh right, here's Drac. But then now I'm thinking about it again. I'm like, no, I've got 2 heavenly hosts on people I don't want to use. So that's a flaw. So that's not great play on my part. But then when you're in the heat of the moment, you're not necessarily thinking about all this stuff.
Yeah, because I remember when my game of Quincy when I was Drac and I went to Spain, he threw down consecrated ground when I landed in Barca and basically just left Toulouse open. Oh no, Saragossa open, where he blocked everywhere else. So I had to move there, and then even then he didn't jump in. He just sat, and then it was a case of, right, okay, well, it's going to be 2-on-1 regardless. But it was more preempting, herding Drac into the hunters, and it's like, oh.
Yeah, that's the best way. If as a hunter, if you can do that, it just makes your life so much easier. Because then, especially if Dracula has to move into you, doesn't put down an encounter and all that stuff.
So you get out of this fight.
Yeah, take 2 damage.
Van Helsing only takes 2 damage. You know that feels. I mean, you have great strength. This fight doesn't seem worst. I mean, I don't know what weapons they have, but
Plus, I'm also
I
having to
assume
think.
they have good.
Well, okay, so Van Helsing has a knife, and Seward has a rifle, if I remember rightly. And now I'm trying to think about what's happening next. I suddenly realized, okay, I'll just heal with Van, because I don't want Van Helsing to die, because he's the one with the CG. Do I trade it away? Do I trade it away, or do I heal? That's what I'm trying to think here. Like, what is it I should be doing?
Well, you do have great strength, right? You can use great strength to like in the worst case scenario where somehow he's going to die, you can save him to save the consecrated ground, right?
Yep, I could. But then if Seward dies, that's a heavenly host gone. I think.
Yes.
Oh, actually, I think that might. No, you know what? I think a dead person can still use heavenly host. I don't think that's how it should be done, but I think I remember a game with Mr. Green where that happened, where he was able to use a heavenly host on someone who had died.
That's not right. That shouldn't be.
No, that's definitely thematically not correct. But the way it's written is it's at dawn they go to the hospital and then they lose all their items. So way, it's a very weird rule. Really, I think
I guess,
as soon as a
you're
hunter
not,
dies,
you're not
they
actually,
should just lose all their stuff instantly.
It's
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
bit. Weird.
And the fact with the digital version, when a hunter dies, they keep their tickets. That's not correct either, because the hunter shouldn't keep
It should be
tickets.
stripped of everything.
Yeah, like how does that work? Like thematically, all right, all these knives and things, we have to take them off you, but no, you keep those 2 tickets so you can rail up to Paris again. That's just not correct at all.
You see, when the nurses come and pick them up, they hide the tickets in their pants, and their weapons they take off, and then it's like, right, okay, that's fine. And you're like, ha ha ha! I've got it in my prison wallet. Ha ha ha!
Uh,
And by then, nobody wants to take the tickets off you. It's like, no, you keep them. Actually, it's fine.
what's that down
Yeah,
there?
look
Oh,
at this. I'd be,
that's
as
just my
Dracula, I'd
captor.
be looking. As Dracula, I'd be thinking, yeah, this is, okay, I'm quite happy with this. You've done
from
good
my-
damage. What were you thinking?
I mean, from my point of view right now, I didn't know he had concentrated ground, so I was expecting heavenly hosts left, right, and center. So I was trying to obviously fangs it. He wasn't playing him because he wanted to save concentrated ground, but I didn't realize that in the moment. It was confusing to me. I was like, he has these 2 people here. One of them, at least one of them, has a heavenly host. Why is he not playing it to deal damage? I didn't even think about the concentrated ground. I was like, what's going on? Maybe, and I felt bad. I was like, oh, I'm wasting all my fangs. He's gonna play him on me after he's all my fangs. This is terrible. But then he did.
Yeah, Sue's got a knife and rifle. I think what I'm trying to work out here is because I didn't want you to escape his bat. That's the big the big fault of my plan here is escape his bat.
I was definitely eyeing that up.
Yeah, rightly so.
That would have been, absolutely.
So with Seward, I know I can play the rifle, and even if I lose the rifle, I can knife like that next turn. I'm just hoping. I hope you know you're going to target Van Helsing, so then Seward gets free damage. I was a little bit indecisive here. I'm probably not playing this very well. I mean, in retrospect, I should have just seen how it all turned out and what I wanted to do. I should have just escaped, escaped first turn. But then if one escapes and you mesmerize the other, that's such a bad situation to be in. And then of course now you target Seward. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, this felt pretty good. After this round of combat, I was like, man, we've broken his rifle. The other one didn't do anything to me. I was like, man, this is actually going okay. Maybe we can get out of this.
Yeah.
Kill John Seward, maybe? I was like, oh.
Yeah, when you see that, you think, oh, yes. As a Dracula, you're like happy. As a hunter, you're like, fuck, I should have played.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if Helsing had played his knife, then either or would have done some damage on Drac. But again, not aware of that. And again, if he'd fanged, you would have blocked it with a knife. But yeah. Escape is back. You'd be kind of thinking as Drac, right, okay. Need to see what he's got, but...
I don't remember what I did this turn. I'm trying to think about it.
I think I remember, but I'm not going to say it because I'm wrong. I think I remember.
Did I try to escape immediately? I feel like I had an escape as bat in hand. I don't know if I would have used it because obviously that's the obvious play, right? Is to escape on 3 when you can. But what if you both tried to escape as well, and then I don't get a chance if I don't do it this turn? It's a whole thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Do I just claw and try to kill John Seward? Is that because then if you escape, I get to kill him. If you use a knife or something, I get to kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what? What did I? What was it? Past Pizzawizard. What were you doing?
I was so happy when I saw that. I was like, good, you're in place.
What was
my hunters have survived. I can play Consecrated Ground now. This is great.
Oh my god. Okay, wait. No, I remember. I remember why I did that. I did that because I was sure he was going to play Heavenly Hosts that turn. I did not want to take 8 damage or 4 damage. I was like, I'll get out of the combat. I'm going to do a port next turn. I have a fog. I can fog it. It'll be fine. I just cannot take any damage in this combat. It's already gone great. I've broken one of their rifles. It's been net positive. Maybe I didn't have an escape as bad as it.
Maybe you should just escape his bat against Seward in that situation, right? But then you're worried I've got more anti-escape his bat stuff, perhaps.
To be fair, you're right. If you're assuming the hunters don't have CG, that's a good result for you. Not until he plays this, you're like, oh.
And then, this is.
Yeah.
So now what
The
I'm
bells.
trying to do, yeah, the bells start ringing. So what I'm trying to do here is think, right, where do I put the CG token? I'm trying to work out where do I need to put it. I'm working out Cadiz here because if I can force you into like 26 or 1, then Cadiz is completely empty and you can't go through Madrid again. So I block off all the ports because I don't want you going there. That's just like the one thing I don't, because I've got no forewarned in this situation, right? And then now overthinking Scot-sword kicks in. So what I wanted to do was put it into 34 to force you into 48. But then I can't remember a few things. Firstly, I can't remember, does Godalming have a 3-2 or a 2-2 ticket?
And you
That's,
can't go and check it now. Unfortunately, it doesn't let you.
I can't check it. So now I don't
Oh.
know what I'm trying to work out, like, and I'm hovering, and it probably, I mean, also we're not going to hear the original commentary. I mean, people who are watching, I might put the link to the original in the description if you want to listen to it, but I think this is more entertaining. And you know what happened? As soon as I clicked it, I was like, I didn't want to click that. That was even though I had my mouse over Saragossa and I was talking about it, as soon as I clicked it, I was like, shit, I didn't want to click it. And then, even then I checked Godalming, I was like, I've got a 2-2. Ah. So now I know what's going to happen, right? That you're either going to move away from me, and then things are going to open up, potentially, or, I mean, you can't feed. That's the thing. Like, at least the only good thing in this situation for me is that feed is on the trail. So you can't feed again.
That sucks.
But now you're in a
Yeah, I mean,
2v1 against two hunters, which, you now know both of them have Heavenly Host. Seward's
Would you
low
mind pausing it
health.
here quickly before I make my Dracula phase move?
Sure. I pause.
Oh, sorry. I see the wheel turning.
Oh.
Oh.
Okay. Sorry. Go for it.
So it's okay. I know you're saying maybe putting it in 48, not a great move, but from my perspective, this is terrible, right? If I'm gonna move, I have to move to 26 or 1. If I move to 26 or 1, because you very correctly put the one that's gonna stick around, the actual token, I can't see the number, but that port right there.
20,
if I go to 26,
no,
I cannot get
yeah.
to see a C that I can go to.
Correct.
So I feel screwed. So my thought is, I have this one event card that I got from my hoax. It was like out of 6 cards, and I felt very good when I had it. And my thought was, if I move to 26 or 1, I'm doomed. I'm not gonna be able to get away. These two are gonna follow me. They're gonna find me. He's gonna have, like, I don't know. He's gonna be able to find me again if I go to 26-1. Maybe only one of them will be there. But even if they don't immediately get me, I have nowhere to go, right? Because Godalming's gonna come in. I can't really get to see. I can't go back to Madrid. Like, my moves are very telegraphed, and he'll be able to hunt me down and kill me unless I can get like a bats off. But that seems unlikely against Scot-sword because he knows what he's doing, and he's gonna prevent that at all costs. So in this situation, I do I'm desperate, and I do something that does not work out very well. If we want to resume the recording, I know 48 doesn't seem great, but I think it worked out in the situation because it made me panic, and I used my event card in a way that I think secured your victory.
Yeah, this is something where in commentary I was going mental at myself, but then the way it panned out, and this is why I wanted to do this as well, or put in some sort of edit and explain just the way the sequence of event works, the way CG is being played here, actually worked out better for me. If I'd actually done the reverse and I'd put it in 34, not 48, your plan would have worked. Maybe Roscoe's caught on to what's going on. We'll see. So you hide in Madrid.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm cursing at this point because obviously you're just going to fight 2 hunters and not 3.
That's good. That's good play.
And at the end of the Dracula phase,
Mm-hmm. It's just coming up to it. Obviously, I'm cursing at this point. Here it comes. Here it comes.
I managed to get the best event.
Yeah.
Darkness Returns. So I think I'm going to quickly find it again, and I'm going to highlight the text for people. I know we talked about this, Roscoe, and I think, but like, so in case you don't realize, Darkness Returns. Dawn is skipped, and there's no day. So immediately, what happens here is if you have CG, all the Heavenly Host tokens disappear at dawn. The dawn is skipped. So the way, at least, I don't know how you'd feel from a board gamer's perspective, Roscoe, doing this, but the way the digital edition implements, as we're going to see, the Heavenly Host tokens remain.
Yeah. Well, I guess to the letter, that's correct.
Yeah, that is correct. I didn't think about it at the time because I was like, oh, if I skip dawn, I'll fight them on my own terms at night. That would give me a better shot. I'll be able to maybe I'll bat form or something. I didn't think about the fact that because it skipped dawn, concentrated ground tokens would stick around an extra day.
Yeah, I wouldn't. To be fair, I thought you were either going to play Devilish Power and remove the CG, or it was going to be Darkness Returns. I'd been the same as you, Pizzawizard. I would have played this and thought, right, happy days. That's going to clear the 3 ports. I've got fog in my hand. 2 ports. I've got fog in my hand. I'll move now. Place that down. They haven't got forewarned. Yeah, that's a rough one to get. I get it. Yep, Dawn is skipped. Ergo, don't remove the hosts. But that's a bit of a kick in the nuts. That it should be almost. That's like Drax card, kind of like, well, okay, you've got a card, but the hunters are still going to be. It should be if Dawn is skipped, those should get removed anyway. I would say. But, yeah, I guess it's technically it's correct, but fucking hell, mate, that's unlucky, Pizzawizard, because that's a good play of the card.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is still the best Dracula event. I mean, probably the best Dracula event card, right? Because it does so much stuff, and I think that it having a slight downside against one of the 100 event cards is okay. But in the moment, I didn't realize it because I never play these cards. I never get event cards. I never get the best event cards, right? I was like, this is amazing, but I didn't fully think through the ramifications of what the first sentence says. Dawn is skipped. Therefore, things we removed at dawn are not removed because there is no dawn.
So the irony of this is...
I would have fallen for that as well, to be fair. That's not something I picked up on. Scot-sword.
The same with Unearthly Swiftness would have been the same problem. You'd have got a double move, but where would you double move to? Nowhere, because 48's blocking everything. That 48. Yep. So if I'd done my original plan, and I'm not trying to be oh yeah, I did this because no. My original plan was to put the Heavenly Host in 34 because I wanted to force you to 48 because I could have collapsed on you with all of my hunters with that second renewed vigor. I would never have turned out the chance for 4v1. But you would have moved to 48, then I wouldn't be able to move, and then, okay, it's still not great, you've had to move to 54, yeah, I am within reach of you, but all it takes is maybe some fast horses to get a bit messed up or whatever, and it wouldn't have worked. If the things would have disappeared, you could have moved to 48 and then to 47, I'd have been raging. And I had no forewarned, and I could have been walking into fog or goodness what else.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you'd have been away. And again, I had
Concentrated ground would have been used. I could have gone to the UK and been we could have. It would have been so nice. But
that's the thing. Now UK's I know Gadal is kind of in a position to cover, but still, all the others are really far away. The UK is a much safer prospect now because of the fact that CG is gone. So yeah.
And the thing is, if you'd, it's all. I'm with you, Pizzawizard. This is a kick in the nuts because I'd be thinking myself great, I'll use Darkness Returns, then I can jump to a port, throw down fog, blah blah blah, and then even if he jumps on you, of course Cagliari, I don't know what you put down there. If you've got a vampire in Cagliari, and then Mina's just sitting there, all of a sudden then you can have it where that's going to go one more day. If they land in fog, they can't trade excellent weather to her at night.
Yeah.
So you could have another 4 points. I don't know. Do you remember what you had in Cagliari?
I believe it was. I think it was an aristocratic because I never was planning to stay there and fight him, so I didn't. I wanted to put something that was that I wanted him to have to stop, but not something that would be useful in the combat situation.
That is rough, yeah. Because if Cagliari had matured,
then Mediterranean's off the trail.
Back, you get your wolf back, you get Mediterranean back, yeah.
So all this blocking nonsense, you could have just gone to instead of hiding, go to 1, then hide. So I've got 2 things to encounter to deal with. One which could be fog, can't deal with it because I haven't got forewarned, and then whatever. Oh, maybe you could have in that situation, even though you're still quite healthy, Dark Call, because then you would have Dark Called, Cagliari would have matured, wiped everything, and then I had excellent weather, but just in case the trade didn't work or whatever, yeah, this is a rough one. I think I might be able to get out of it because I had both excellent weather still, but still, you didn't know I had excellent weather. So you'd have even your right to try and play that move, and that'd have been really good on your part. Yeah.
Wow. So we play it though. That we do not foresee these things. We play Darkness Returns, and we feel okay. It feels okay. It's a little bit of a desperation call. It's not I don't think there was that many Dracula events in this card pile, so that part didn't do much. But we get back into a night fight.
That's the other thing. That's a night fight. And at this point, I'm trying to work out.
No.
Do I try to kill you? Do I I didn't at this point. I didn't even think about if I then obviously realized at this point that do I let you escape? Do I try and kill you? That's the
But
question.
here's the other thing then. Here's that I've just noticed there. So Darkness Returns, right? So your Heavenly Hosts have gone past dawn, so they shouldn't come off until the next Heavenly Host, right? The argument should be then, if you've already placed them as part of CG, they shouldn't be in your hand as a weapon, I don't think.
Oh, so the way it works, you just reveal them. You don't like commit them down to the board. You just reveal the heavenly. Say, oh yeah, I've got a heavenly host. It's not like you're committing the heavenly host to something. If that
No,
makes
because in the
sense.
board game you've got the token for Heavenly Host, so you place that down on the board with CG.
So the token is like not consuming the card, but until the heavenly host token gets removed, then technically you don't have the heavenly host item.
Well, I'm just thinking this thematically. If Darkness Returns goes by, you can't place. Effectively, Heavenly Host is still down on the board, blocking it.
Jeez, that's
So
such a
therefore it's out
niche
of your hand.
interaction. Fucking hell.
So yeah.
Because there's no other situation, at least in fights with Drac, because obviously you play CG at night, but the dusk combat would have already been done, and then they get removed at dawn before the dawn combat. So it's only if you do a night fight with a vampire, and it's a character that's used up CG. The way it sounds like you just reveal Heavenly Host, and then the token goes onto the board, but it's not like the card is committed to that token. It's just, okay, you just reveal it, put it down. Yeah, it's very interesting, though. Yeah.
Maybe it should, if it's out of your hand and it's being used as CG, then you've sacrificed it being in your hand for battle. Stop it.
It's such a niche case, though, right? Because they can only play it at night, and then they get removed at dawn. So the only time that would matter is exactly in this situation, right?
Or if you're fighting a vampire at night.
That's true. That's true. If you use Consecrated Ground and then fight a vampire.
But then again, how often does that happen? Like, more often than this situation, but not that often. You don't want to fight vampires at night because bad things happen. Like, you get bitten or you get weapons broken or goodness what else, right?
I'm just feeling bad for Dracula because of that Darkness Returns. That's why I was like, fuck it. Yeah. Let's try and help him out. The hunter shouldn't be allowed. You only get the one item. But
showing your bias here.
Yeah, absolutely.
At this point, I'm despondent. I realize that the Consecrated Ground are going to stick around, and that I will not be able to just easily go to port as I had planned. So I'm thinking, escape is bad. That is the only out. We must escape is bad. And I'm also thinking, if they all have Heavenly Hosts, I know 100% they all have Heavenly Hosts. So I'm like, okay, where are my fangs? I look at my starting combat hand. There are 0 fangs in the starting combat hand this time.
The thing's like, even if you do escape as bat, like, where are you escaping as bat to? There's nowhere to go. Because 48's been blocked. If this was like, if I didn't have that third token in Saragossa, then but like, because of that, you're only going to go to 1
of 26. Barcelona, right?
No.
Couldn't I get to like Barcelona from Madrid? Wait, no.
You had to go through 48. There's no direct. There's a rail between Alicante and Barcelona, but there's not a road.
Well, because I would have gotten a move too, right? Because I would have had another Dracula phase. Couldn't I? If I had gotten 2 spaces away, couldn't I have gotten?
No, because the Heavenly Host would have still been up. So you could have gone to 1, but then 48 would have been blocked. So
that Darkness Returns, we would have still kept it there. But I guess if you'd gone Granada, then played Darkness Returns after it, and then you could have had they'd been stuck in Madrid, then you could have moved to Alicante, fogged or something. It would give you.
Well, Alicante is the one with the permanent token, unfortunately, which is also ruining all my plans.
Cadiz is on the other side. Alicante is the one on the Mediterranean coast.
Oh, sorry. Yes.
Then if Cagliari matured, the Med would have opened up for you.
Oh yeah, that'd have been amazing. Yeah.
But yeah, that's
So at this point, I'm just like, let's just try and kill Drac with these. He knows I got Heavenly Host. Let's just try and play it. I feel bad if I miss an opportunity. If I get bitten here, then tough. I got great strength. Yeah. I'm not going to die from great strength. I'm just going to get bitten. I don't really care if one of them gets bitten.
Unfortunately, I had no fangs. No fangs were in my hand. So I had to. I played the Mesmerize, which I had, hoping that you wouldn't play it turn 1, and then turn 2. Yeah, I had no good cards, so I was hoping. I don't know.
Yeah, I get it, because on another day I might just dodge twice because I didn't want to risk getting bitten. And that'd be a great play.
Maybe you do something weird and I would get a chance, but no, you went with the good play. The murder Dracula this turn play.
Yeah. So yeah, in the end, actually, the way that I played CG actually caused more issues for you than I expected. So it was just funny how it all works out. On another day, that would be. I'd say if you had feed available, you'd be in a much better position. But if you had to hide with no encounters, like, oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a rough one.
Yeah.
That's rough. That's bad luck, that is.
Yeah, that does. That was it. You played the right. Yeah, I mean, I would have done the same. I would have played Darkness Returns. I wouldn't even thought that it would have stayed there. And again, like I say, technically the card is correct. There was no Dawn, so you're skipping it completely. So anything that was there the night before stays there. But nah, fucking Hunters are OP, man.
It did feel nice to draw that card, like in
Yeah,
the
I
host,
bet.
I was kind of like, I'll just get like something not great. I'll get a wild horse. I'll get like wild horses or something. But then to see Dark's Returns, it did make me feel like there was like a good, like that first half hour of that game, I was ecstatic. I was like, I have Dark's Returns. This is
Yep.
great. This is my chance against the great Scot-sword.
Got three things to mature as well, which I don't like. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's an interesting game.
Yeah. I guess the other thing, and again, it's all great retrospectively, but I guess the other thing could be when you went to Madrid, you Darkness Return next to get you to the port.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then it would have given you the chance to have fogged, and it would have GG would have been irrelevant then. But
in that situation, I think does Scotsword even use all of his resources? Because even if, let's say, I successfully get away at that point, but he still has the consecrated ground, he still has the renewed vigor. I think even if I get away and I like go to the UK, I think he still gets me there. Maybe a few turns later, but
the funny thing is actually that wouldn't have worked because Dark's Returns would have triggered, so I lose my day action, but then I would have still had the night action before Dracula moved again. So I would have just CG'd. Probably.
You didn't know he was in Madrid though. Oh, I suppose,
yeah.
Suppose you had enough.
Actually, no. That's actually true, because I hadn't used Hypnosis. I didn't know he was
there. No.
That's true. Maybe.
So he could have gone Madrid, then he could have gone to one of the ports, and then if she'd Hypnosis, and then found out you're in Spain then, that's okay. Then you put a fog down, it doesn't matter who jumps on him, who would get hit with fog.
Yeah.
You get 2 days, you could have then, it just delays you to stay there for a bit. You could have fed or whatever, but yeah,
I could have taken the risk potentially and just thrown it into Spain anyway. And then would I have done?
I mean,
it depends on the day. Some days I'd take the risk, some days I wouldn't have. It just depends.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, it's that prominent. It's like force him to either go back to sea, which okay, but I mean Rufus wasn't in play, so it's not the worst case scenario. You've played your CG, which all of a sudden opens up the UK.
Absolutely.
That was unlucky, mate. That Pizzawizard, that was good use of the card, but damn it, yeah, it's good to know for future games.
Yeah, so many low interactions. I've never seen that interaction. Never thought of it. It'd be the same with Unearthly Swiftness as well. Dracula would be able to move twice, but if he's blocked in,
moves don't matter.
Yeah, you take 2 Dracula moves while CG's up. So, assuming CG is played in a way that it blocks in Dracula like that, then yeah, it causes problems. If there's an escape route out of it, then you're fine.
And interestingly, we didn't even cover that when we did the Drac events, the Darkness Returns. It didn't even cross either of our minds about talking about it. That if you use the CG, because I didn't assume that would happen.
No, I never thought about it.
Everything. Nah, that's a tough way to go down, mate. That's a tough way to go down, but it was good use of the card anyway.
Yeah, it was certainly, maybe not the best game I've ever played, but it did feel cool to draw that card. Like it felt cool to draw it and have it, and if I'm gonna, it didn't feel that terrible losing. I kind of went into the match. Me doing decently well against Warcraft gave me some hope that maybe I could do decently well against Scot-sword as Dracula, but I kind of came into it knowing that the odds were not great, but. I
guess had you known Darkness Returns would have done that to CG, then obviously it would have helped you. You would have played it differently, because I think that's a surprise to all of us. I'm sure there's people out there that do know that that's what would happen, but I would never have. I would have played that exactly the same as you did, thinking that's going to free up all my spaces. Happy days. And you've played CG. I'm going to go to a port, throw down a fog, go to sea, go to the UK.
Yeah.
Cagliari matures. Thank you very much. Yeah. So I would have done exactly the same, but. Interesting to know.
Interesting.
When you lose games like that, it's like, fuck. It's not because you played bad. It wasn't.
No.
Made a mistake. It's that simple.
But again, it wasn't. You played that not knowing that's what would happen. So I mean, had it been common knowledge, then it'd be like, oh, why is he doing Darkness Return? CG's in place, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't have even contemplated that.
And then still, then you see that, especially now. I didn't even think about it at the time, but just like just that you get a hoax under most situations. Like Dracula wants hoaxes to mature. That's such a great coup for you, and the fact it just shuffled the deck in such a way that got like renewed vigor at the bottom, renewed vigor at top, the hypnosis at the bottom. Like, what is that? That's just if I was in your position, if I was like the Dracula player seeing that, I'd be gutted. That's really poor. I can't believe that. Out of like how many cards I got out, how many of them were like towards the top end of that tier? I mean, I did get double blood transfusion, but like still, like you can't. It's just ridiculous.
The only two you didn't get that I had in my S tier were fucking Aggie and
Heroic Leap.
Heroic Leap.
No, but I had no sense of emergency. I did have a couple of charted carriage, no sense of emergency, no planned ambushes, no forewarns. And I think forewarned I put in top tier. But then at the same time, it's like, well, yeah, of course, it's not great I don't have forewarned, but at the same time, you've got to try and bounce that card around to whoever's going to need it. Whereas Renewed Vigor, just anyone can play it. Hypnosis, you just get it to the person who needs it. So I mean,
the fact that Van Helsing's Mystic Research, after shuffling, I think like there was maybe one, there was like 29 Dracula events in that deck, and he looked at the back six, and there was one there.
Yeah, fucking hell. Yeah, that's the card whisperer Scot-sword at play again. You know what I mean?
So obviously at this point, because I've still got Werecraft to play, I was absolutely ecstatic. Going, right, I've got a win. That's the most important thing. But also the fact I got, even though you got 4 IP, which was really good, and you got a host control and that stuff, that was a big victory in terms of IDS for me. So I was like, good position. I can now go into the other game with a bit more confidence, and we can, obviously Rossco does. I mean, we know you both know the result, but you don't know exactly what happened, how it all transpired. So there you go.
Yeah, it was interesting. That was a good.
Okay. Cool. Well, we'll probably keep chatting for a little bit, but thank you two for joining me for this post-game commentary. It's definitely more fun than me just doing it on my own, so thank you very much for all that.
Thank you.
Great to have you on the channel as always. And thank you for watching, everybody, and we'll see you in the next video very soon. Bye bye.